Thank you, delegates who've been able to make time to this inaugural Africa Cyber Defense Forum, hosted virtually because of the pandemic reasons. We could not meet face to face. Initial plans were for us to meet face to face here in Nairobi, but thanks to the technology, we are able to conduct this virtual conference. I've already made my opening remarks, so I'll not take a lot of time because I know there are a lot of people here who really want to engage the experts in the matter of cybersecurity. I'll therefore take this opportunity to introduce the team from Interpol, led by Craig Jones, so that they can begin their sessions. Thank you very much and welcome, Craig Jones. I think the other team member is Yinon, Battat, and Alyssa Radlett. So welcome to the forum, and go ahead and provide your presentation, please.
William, thank you very much for the introduction, and also thank you to everybody for inviting Interpol and giving us the opportunity to explain a little bit about Interpol, the organisation, but also, as relevant to here today, what we are doing in the cybercrime space with our law enforcement colleagues globally, but also with private industry as well. So maybe just a few words about Interpol first of all. We are an organisation with its origins dating back to around 1914. We're a global and neutral intergovernmental organisation, and we work very closely with our 194 member countries. The overall vision of Interpol is to make the world a safer place. And now, as we see in this highly connected place, no more so now, international police cooperation is fundamental. Our overall mission is preventing and fighting crime through enhanced coordination and innovation on police and security matters. In particular here, within the Cybercrime Directorate that I lead, we run the Global Cybercrime Programme, and we focus in 3 core areas. Effectively, we're looking at the cybercrime threat, we're also looking at cybercrime operations, and then cyber strategy and capabilities development. When we look at the pandemic we're currently going through, is related to COVID-19, you can see so many similarities within the physical sense of this pandemic. It's a virus, it spreads. Sometimes it can be controlled, sometimes it can't, depending what protective measures you put in place, how you look to prevent it spreading. In cybercrime and the cyberspace, it's very similar to that. So, as I've said, Interpol being a uniquely organisation, we're able to connect 194 member countries. And part of our role is to help support those member countries in their efforts against transnational crime. We have 3 global programmes: counter-terrorism, organised emerging crime, and the cybercrime programme, which is the one I lead. We're based here in Singapore, but we do have that global remit, as I've said. But more importantly, what we also have is that global voice for policing, and we're able to influence like no other policing organisation on the international stage. At the heart of our programme is data and information, because that is what we need in order to understand that threat picture and how we deal with that. When we look at some facts and figures, which was mentioned at the beginning, the cost of damage is around $3 trillion in 2015 from cyber attacks. Some estimate it in 2021 to be as high as $6 trillion. When you look at the number of internet users in 2017, 2 billion, 2022, 6 billion, 2030, 7.5 billion. And that's before the pandemic came, when we've seen an exponential growth in people now going online. There are over 1.9 billion websites globally. The average cost of a cybercrime per organisation is 1.4 million, but in fact it's now increased to some organisations where it's in terms of $13 million per cybercrime attack. And we're also looking at crime now, and in some respects over 50% of crime is reported, and it's online crime. And a lot of this is aimed at the small businesses. So going after the data of the small businesses, because that is where the criminal wants to get. They want that personal data. They want to turn that into and being able to monetize that. So how do we do this through coordination then? Well, effectively, as I've said, we have 3 global programs, and you're going to hear a little bit more in detail about the cybercrime program in a bit from my colleagues as well, where they'll go into some more detail. But within the program that we have 4 main objectives. The first one is developing a better understanding of the cybercrime threat landscape. And we can only do that realistically with the help of our partners, and particularly our private partners. We have special arrangements that we can bring data and information into Interpol and bring that into our cybercrime threat response area, and then use that to target and run our operations, but also look to protect those communities. Effectively then, how we've done this is developing our mandate, and our mandate for the whole program is reducing the global impact of cybercrime and protecting communities for a safer world. It's going back to that main police goal of preventing crime and protecting communities. So effectively, what we want to do and aim to do is stop bad people or bad things happening to our communities, either in a physical sense or a virtual sense. So we do this, as I said, by continuously collecting that data and processing, storaging, analysing and evaluating it, and then disseminating that as data and information, but more importantly, actionable intelligence for our member countries. And Yinon's going to go into some more details in a bit about how we do that. We're also looking at how we lead and coordinate operational activities with member countries in tackling cybercrime threats that cause significant harm on a national, regional and global scale. And we'll talk about that with Isah when we look at some of the operations that we're looking to run and have been running. And then we'll also look, our 4th objective is how we strengthen and enhance the cyber capabilities of member countries to enable them to prevent, detect and investigate cybercrime. And we do that through a number of combined projects. And Alyssa will run through some of the projects that we currently have and how we're looking to develop those projects further. So as I said, we do this under 3 main pillars: the cybercrime threat response area, the cybercrime operations and the cyber capabilities development. Within that, we have some key priorities. One of those is very much about strengthening our public-private partnerships to enhance cybercrime intelligence capabilities. So that's how do we work with our private partners? How do we work effectively with them? How do we share information with them, but more from them about how do we understand that threat picture? We also are looking to increase our global cybercrime activities through proactive regional coordination. And we're going to talk about one of the projects we're hoping to kick off soon in the Africa region, where we have dedicated police officers seconded from the countries in Africa within our regional bureaus, and then bring specialist officers in to support them. And then with support from Singapore here, from our intelligence side, we can build those operations targeting the criminals, organised crime groups that are operating in the Africa region, but also protecting those communities within Africa. And then, as I've also said, about developing those projects and programs of work, and that this is one of the pieces that we'll cover shortly. But we're doing this in a layered model. So effectively trying to work with 194 member countries. They all have different needs. They all have different capabilities and capacities. So at that top part, we're looking to work with those member countries that have really good cyber capabilities, have good skill sets, can carry out complex investigations. And our aim there is to coordinate more of those investigations with our cybercrime threat response and our cybercrime operations team. We've then got that middle tier there where effectively we help build some capabilities in the first instance. We have the Asean model at the moment, which is run here from Singapore, where we have seconded officers within our building, within our team from 10 countries within the region. And we've helped build some capabilities first of all. So we've assessed what are the needs of those countries. And then we've then helped develop those needs with them and also with other areas from Interpol as well. And that has now moved into an operational phase. We're actually doing operations against the criminals within the region. And then the bottom tier are those countries that may not have great capabilities at the moment. So helping them develop and taking those first steps to investigating crime online. How do we do that and how do we support them? So we're looking to do that in the 5 regions. We have the Americas, Asia, Middle East, North Africa, Europe, but more today we're going to focus on the Africa region and how we do that as well. So I think I've taken enough of my time now. That's the sort of overarching objectives. All of the officials that work within Interpol are either seconded officers like me. I'm a seconded law enforcement official from the United Kingdom. We have seconded officials from Israel, Singapore. We have project people from the Philippines, from Nigeria. We have people from around the world working within our directorate. And that gives us a real rich vein of talent. It gives us, experience and insight into those countries we're trying to work with. So it's not so much about us imposing what we think. It's very much working collaboratively with those countries directly and supporting them. So that's enough from me. I'm now going to hand over to Yinon, I believe, is next up on this. Am I nodding my head correctly? Is that right? Yinon, put a thumb up. Have I got it right?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. So I'll now hand on to Yinon. Thank you very much. We'll be able to take some questions. I'll be doing an interview later on today, which I'm looking forward to as well, which I think is available to be seen. So thank you very much. With further ado, I'll hand over to Yinon, who will introduce himself. Thank you, Yinon.
All right. Hello, everybody. Happy to be here, and thank you, Craig, for the great review. I'll take from here. I have some feedback. Anybody has his microphone? All right. Yeah, better. Thanks a lot. Well, the topic would be the threat landscape in Africa, but if you don't mind, I'll start a little bit to speak about, well, I'm the head of the Cyber Fusion Center, so I have to speak a little bit about how we do what we do and what is the Cyber Fusion Center. So it's going to be brief, and then we dive into the threat landscape, especially in Africa. Of course, this is the main topic for today. So starting with the Cyber Fusion Center, basically, this is the intelligence hub for cyber in Interpol. It's just a very high overview of what are we dealing with and what crime areas we're handling with. So, of course, the focus would be the pure cybercrime, so hacking and malwares, etc. But we are not stopping there. There's a lot of criminal activities going on online regarding to frauds and scams, and of course we are working on this one as well, extortion and you name it. And just so you understand the broader scope, we even handling some physical crimes as well. So we had few cases where member countries coming to us requesting help in kidnapping cases. So everything that the police had was an email address and a Bitcoin wallet, but there was a physical kidnap to it, and we are managing to help them as well. So let me share with you how we are doing our job, starting with the collection of intelligence or collection of information. We are doing this through open source, of course. And through the member countries, so through police organizations working with us, and they are collecting data in their investigation, sharing this with us. And more importantly, we are working with private partners. So for now, we have data sharing agreements with 13 partners from the private sector. These 13 companies are from all over the world, from Japan to the east, all the way to Brazil in the west. And they are covering different sectors as well. Of course, cybersecurity sector, but also the financial sector and the telecommunications sector. And working with these partners is actually enabling us to have the best view we can on the internet or intelligence from the internet. Also, they are supporting us with their expertise and experience. Going back to the process, all the information we are collecting is then being analyzed to produce intelligence, and this is then shared with the relevant law enforcement for them to take actions. So that's what we are calling actionable intelligence. These reports at the end would highlight specific individual, which is a threat actor, or specific infrastructure that the police can go on and disrupt. In the end, everything we do is in order to produce or create operations. So we will not do just general blogs or things like that. It would be specific intelligence for police to take action on. And then we are acknowledging that since police is multinational, and you require more than one country to work in a certain case, we find ourselves, Interpol, as to be in a best position to help those member countries join together, coordinate their actions and coordinate their information to actually disrupt the ongoing crime. So this is very briefly on what is the CFC and what is cybercrime operations in Interpol. Now I will go to speak a little bit about the threat landscape or the threat assessment. So in 2019, the Cybercrime Directorate have conducted a global threat assessment. This global threat assessment was made out of information we collected from member countries, questionnaire and regional working groups or meetings we had with them to learn what they are dealing with and what are their problems. Of course, we have a lot of information as well from our private partners, and we collated all of that to have a global threat assessment. Of course, I can't give you all of the information of a global threat assessment in just a few minutes, but I would give you the gist of it, if you don't mind, and then we can go through to be more specific in Africa. We highlighted 5 key trends, as you can see. The first one around malware and ransomware. So we found that malware is going more and more on the mobile platform. As well, it's becoming more and more sophisticated. So it is known that today you can find, or technically it's available to create malware that is based on artificial intelligence, but it's just a matter of time until we see these type of malwares in the wild as well. The second trend would be social engineering, and under this one, we highlight the business email compromise as a global concern. And as you're going to see soon, this is something that all over the world, police organizations are handling this because of tremendous money losses. Next is the darknet, which stays the gateway for criminals, cyber criminals, especially through the markets and forums. This is the place where they share knowledge. This is the place where they communicate and create contacts, and they become groups. Next is the cryptocurrency. Of course, cryptocurrency is a tool for cyber criminals, but lately we see that it's not only a tool; it also became a target, where cryptocurrency exchanges being attacked, and again, tremendous money losses were recorded there. And last one is data breach with high volume of data. This is still continue. So this is a very high overall on the technicality of what do we see in cybercrime today. Going on to the regional aspect. So region by region, we see that at least a few months ago, that was, we see that the business email compromise and cryptojacking is a concern for many countries. I mean, really in every continent. But of course, specific regions have their specific flavor or specific aspects that are of interest more. So I would just run through this. In the Americas, we saw that Spanish-speaking hacking forums is something that is evolving rapidly. In Asia Pacific is the cryptocurrency exchanges that are being targeted, as I mentioned before. Going on to the MENA region. So In the Middle East, we see many countries are going through a process of digitalization, and those countries are starting to use smart city, blockchain platforms, etc. And this, with all the benefits, has a lot of risks as well. And last, of course, but not least, Africa. In Africa, we see the modus operandi of types of fraud being more and more sophisticated and diversified.
And those countries,
so this is a very high level. And if you don't mind,
blockchain platforms, etc. And this, with all the benefits, has a lot of risks as well.
Somebody have
and last, of course, but not least, Africa. In Africa, we see the modus operandi of types of.
All right. Thank you. I had some feedback. Sorry for that. I'll continue with where I stopped. So I went through the region one by one, but now we're going to dive into Africa more in specific and more give you some technical overall of what is being there this time now. So this is very recent. This is information that was collected from one of our partners, Trend Micro, which help us a lot. And this collection is from January to June, so quite about up to last week or so. And in here you see a heat map of malicious sites that were visited by basically African victims. And on the top chart there, you see South Africa with over 2 million visits to those malicious sites, followed by Egypt with almost 1 million, and then Morocco, Nigeria, Tunisia, Kenya, all of these more than 100,000. And so each visit like that is a potential victim that is being hacked or attacked. If you want to know a little bit more about where do these domains or where do these malicious sites are hosted, then on the left-hand side of the screen, you can see, of course, that it's not surprising, like many of the websites in the world, they are being hosted in the US or Europe. But it is very interesting to see that quite a lot of cybercrime within Africa is also resulting from infrastructure that is in Africa. So number 3 in that list, you can see South Africa, and then number 7 in that list, that's Egypt, followed by Algeria, and then Seychelles, Kenya. So each one of these is basically a victim that is visiting a malicious site hosted in those countries. If you are interested to know more about what type of maliciousness are these, so over 1.7 million of those visits are sites that are related to malware distribution. Then around 500,000 is C2 servers, and then a little bit like 300,000 phishing sites, and the others, adware, scam, ransomware, is on a lower scale there. Let me dive into specifically malware. So you can see here in this chart on the right-hand side, all the malware detections Trend Micro had in Africa, again, in the last few months. And you can see that 50% of them are from South Africa, followed by the other quarter, which is Nigeria and Egypt. Ransomware is the number 1 malware to be concerned of, where about 90% of it is in South Africa. Ransomwares like WannaCry, GNCrab, Maze, BitPaymer, with affected industries such as government and healthcare. Then Spyware, which is quite surprising to see that Spyware is mainly prevalent in Kenya, Congo, and Egypt, unlike the chart on the right. But again, the affected industries is still healthcare, telecommunication, government, banking. Backdoor infections you would see in Tunisia, Egypt, and Nigeria, with affected industries such as healthcare, telecommunication, and then worm detections in South Africa, Egypt, Ethiopia, and Tunisia, with affected industries, government, and healthcare, and energy. So you see that healthcare and government is appearing there a lot. And we can't really have a discussion on cybercrime these days without speaking about the #1 virus in the world today, which is coronavirus. You all know probably how the global pandemic has affected basically all the countries, especially and as well in the cyber space. The Cybercrime Directorate have discussed this with member countries and try to find out what are the concerns of law enforcement around these issues, around these days. So the reply we got from Africa countries was the following: the increased use of electronic or cashless payments around the global pandemic, working from home, of course, phishing, extortion, and charity scam, as well as fake news that are related to COVID-19. Now, to be honest, that wasn't something that surprises us. We heard that from a lot of other countries, and I would be happy to share with you a little bit about our activities that are related to combat cybercrime issues around the COVID-19 pandemic. In front of in your screens, you can see a word cloud that was generated based on all the content, basically, that we were handling in the past few months. And I think that demonstrates perfectly how coronavirus is and cyberspace are going perfectly together. I'll share with you a few activities that are related to COVID-19 pandemic, and that's going back to the healthcare services I was discussing before. So starting with ransomware attack on hospitals, we know that hospitals are not the strongest link. Well, they work as if there's not too much or not too big asset to defend, although by doing that, they become quite vulnerable. So many threat actors can gain access to hospitals. It was these days on the global crisis that gave those threat actors the best reason, basically, to execute a ransomware based on this access. We know that it severely disrupted the ongoing activity in hospitals. We know that the #1 vulnerability is the remote desktop protocol in those organizations. And basically what we did is helping those hospitals that were attacked and highlighting to hospitals that were not attacked yet about this vulnerability in their systems. Two ransomware to highlight, maybe two ransomware families that stand out are Defray 777 and the Networker. So that's just one activity. The second one is malwares. We've seen a lot of known malwares that took a new disguise to disguise as just coronavirus applications. Also, threat actors taking advantage of the fact that people are working from home to give even more attack space or to be able to target them easy. On the right-hand side of the screen, you can see the splash screen of coronavirus.bat. That's a wiper. Basically, if you got infected in this one, if your computer got infected in this one, this is what your screen will show after wiping your hard drive. Next one would be scams and frauds, and that was in the millions. Basically, organizations' hunger for medical products and supplies was just a perfect storm for threat actors to suggest products that they don't really have. Now, we are not speaking about just individuals that are being scammed online. We are speaking about losses of millions of dollars of governments and organizations that are attempting to purchase medical supplies, and they just receive nothing. This work was done by Cyber Fusion Center with the help of the Financial Crime Unit. So together with them, we managed to highlight few threat actors, and we are very proud of that. And maybe the last one before I hand over is the malicious domains. So of course, every threat actor will use whatever is popular right now to lure people into being victims. And the most popular things in these months was COVID-19. It was quite easy for them because that affects the entire world. We identified this trend quite early, and we noticed that many of the domains registered with keywords like COVID and Corona are in fact being malicious. So we formed a task force together with member countries as well to collect whatever domains that were registered with these keywords within the last few months, just as an intelligence base, so we can work on that, and this would help with highlighting or finding specific actors. After 3 months of work, we found over 200,000 domains with these keywords, and many of them are being malicious. And we know that because we are getting flags from our private partners, from our especially cybersecurity partners working with us. These days, we are working to do final preparation of all this information to be shared with all law enforcement organizations. So these would be this will help the member countries to find other threat actors. So if in the audience anybody is from law enforcement, expect this, and we'll be very happy if you can get back to us with any information that related to this. So I want to thank you again, all of you, for listening and for this opportunity. This is where my presentation ends, and I would give the floor to Ms. Alyssa Radlett. Alyssa is a project coordinator for project in the Cybercrime Directorate, and she also works under the Cyber Asean desk. So Alyssa, the floor is yours. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Yinon. And good afternoon, everyone from Singapore. I am Alyssa Radlett, and I am the project manager in Interpol Cybercrime Directorate. So Craig has earlier mentioned the Global Cybercrime Program. And how do the projects fit in this program? So in this instance, the projects form an integral part of this program as they strengthen and support the delivery of the Cybercrime Directorate's mandate of reducing the global impact of cybercrime and protecting communities for a safer world. And currently, there are several ongoing projects within the remit of the Cybercrime Directorate, and some of which has a global or regional reach. In today's discussion, I will be sharing with you 2 projects delivered by Cybercrime Directorate that has a particular focus to Africa. So one of them is the Interpol support program for the Africa Union in relation to Afropol. So this program was launched just 2 months back, sometime in April, and will be running for 3 years until March of 2023. Now, this program is managed by the Global Outreach and Regional Support Team back in Lyon, but the cybercrime pillar is delivered through the Cybercrime Directorate in Singapore. And there are several areas of intervention within this program, and those are the three main crime groups. That's counterterrorism, organized and emerging crime, infrastructure and analysis support, and of course, cybercrime. Now, the overall objectives of the program include the promotion of the best practice exchanges and the sharing of knowledge with Afropol to coordinate the threat assessments, the harmonization of police methods, the planning and implementation of actions, all directed at improving the efficiency and the effectiveness of Africa Police. At the same time, the program supports the development of Afropol's capabilities to influence the fight against the three crime groups. So that's organized crime, terrorism, and cybercrime within Africa. And ultimately, the program aims to strengthen Afropol as the Africa Union's policing organ to become a strong instrument to combat transnational organized crime. And looking at the cybercrime pillar, this program aims to guide, to enhance, and strengthen the cyber capability of Afropol and its member countries. So the program activities will bring together law enforcement agencies from member countries with the aim of conducting joint operations, and also with Interpol providing mentorship to the Afropol team that will participate in this operation. Other activities that will be included in this program will be tabletop exercises, regional working group meetings, best practice exchanges, awareness seminars and workshops, and of course, the development of curricula and training materials. Now, Interpol intends to promote a collaborative and a complementary approach to mitigate regional challenges with an effective security architecture and a consolidated response to transnational threats faced in Africa. And there's also another project in the pipeline, which Craig has briefly mentioned earlier in his presentation. So it involves the creation of the Africa Desk within the Africa Joint Operations Against Cybercrime project. Now, this project falls under the Cybercrime Operations pillar of the Global Cybercrime Program, where the objective is to lead the coordination of national and regional operations and investigations targeted against cybercrime threat actors and groups undertaking criminal activity in Africa. And earlier, just before my presentation, my colleague Yinon has provided an overview of the threat environment in Africa. And so to add a bit more rationale on the need for such initiatives in the region, there are key impediments to the effective conduct of cross-jurisdictional cybercrime in the region. So there are inherent multitude diversities that is existent in the region. There's also the differing degrees of priorities in various cyber threats by respective member countries' law enforcement agencies. And of course, the varying capacity of these law enforcement agencies in dealing with cybercrime. So Interpol implements a regional operational approach that is based upon the experience and successes of the ongoing Asean Joint Operations Against Cybercrime Project, or AJOC. Now, this project focuses on the Southeast Asia region and is being delivered by the ASEAN Desk since 2018. However, since its establishment, the ASEAN Desk has made significant contributions to the fight against cybercrime, both in the operational as well as strategic levels. So the desk has delivered several milestones, including the publication of the annual ASEAN Cyber Threat Assessment Report, which incorporates the regional strategy for Southeast Asia. So the 2020 report has been published early this year, I think back in January and February, and you can have a copy of that report in the Interpol website. And at the same time, the desk has developed joint action plans targeting regional prevention and mitigation efforts, which led to 2 successful operations. We had the Operation Goldfish Alpha and Operation Night Fury. Now, Operation Goldfish Alpha concluded back in November 2019 and has led to a 78% reduction of infected routers in Southeast Asia. While on Operation Night Fury, this led to the arrest of 3 individuals suspected to be the administrators of the seized C2 servers in Indonesia. So building upon this regional model, the Africa Joint Operations Against Cybercrime project aims to drive intelligence-led coordinated actions against cybercrime and their perpetrators in the Africa region through the implementation of a harmonized regional coordination framework and the development of joint action plans. So this is where the collaboration between the private partners, the seconded cybercrime officers, and everyone else come into play and work together. So the project will directly benefit law enforcement agencies in Interpol member countries in Africa, and it will promote cooperation and best practice sharing amongst African states as well as Interpol, and further enhance the regional and extra-regional cooperation in cybercrime matters. So Africa Desk will be created to initiate and implement the framework and drive Interpol-supported and Africa-centric joint operations against cybercrime to strengthen Africa states' capacity and capability to fight cybercrime. So both these projects are part of the Global Cybercrime Program. And of course, Interpol is looking forward to the continued collaboration with partners, private partners, stakeholders, like-minded institutions, academia, and law enforcement agencies to leverage on the existing tools, the available resources and skills, and similar project successes that can contribute in having that strengthened outcome and the lasting sustainable impact by the project. So I hope I was able to give you a bit more detail and substance on how the projects are instrumental in delivering Interpol's mandate. So thank you very much for your attention. I will hand over the presentation to my colleague Isah. Isah, are you there?
My name is Isah Mohammed, seconded officer from Nigeria Police to Cybercrime Directorate as a digital officer, digital crime officer. My duties as a digital crime officer, first of all, I'm serving under operation unit, and my duty is to develop and enhance partnership with organizations which deal with the global cybercrime related issues, to develop and coordinate best practices on cybercrime, to assist in development of new strategies and delivering of timely, relevant, and analytical products to member countries. My experience in this regard on how to a kind of implement some of these strategies within the Africa region, as early highlighted before, it is indeed our commitment within the operational unit to achieve the set objective, cybercrime objective or initiative in African region. On this aspect, our activities mainly cover 2 aspects of operation. We have main operational program. What I mean by main operational program, we have a coordinated operation between Interpol and member countries. And we also have enlightenment or awareness program in this regard. So the objective of this operation with member countries or joint operation with member countries, the objective of it is to identify, disrupt criminal network with view of suppressing cyber criminal, to bring together law enforcement agencies from member countries with aim to conduct joint operation for effective investigation and threat mitigation, to identification and notification of victim, prosecution of those culpable to this crime, to guide, enhance, and strengthen cyber capability of African member countries, to introduce and provide new policies that are guiding standard cyber operational activities. In the aspect of operation, as I rightly stated, we have operational activities and awareness activities. In the aspect of operation, we used to set a time by communicating member countries of a specific time based on the trend or cyber landscape we have seen, and possibly try to see how we bring member countries together. We consult by deliberating on the crime trend within the respective countries. Having done that, from there we set operational activities. One of the process or the initial stage of it, we call for operational meeting, and one of the meeting we usually have is Africa Working Group meeting on cybercrime. This meeting is a meeting that we normally organize annually to bring together law enforcement agencies, stakeholders under the same platform to discuss on issues or cybercrime related crime within the region. We commence this operation with this meeting. From there, we have 4 stages of operation. We have phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 and 4. Phase 1 of this is phase 1 of the operational activities is planning stage. Within this area, we sit down, map out the strategies and some kind of platform or how we intend to coordinate this operation. From there, we move to the second phase. Second phase of it, we also deliberate in detail of some of these things we have highlighted and try to see how we have them effectively. What I mean, we talk of the platform to be used in terms of communication and other aspects of it. The third one is we go to tactical aspect of the operation. This aspect go in detail, and this is the period where both Interpol and member countries actively participate in a coordinated or simultaneously execute the operation plan we earlier have on ground. From there, we move to the fourth phase of it. Fourth phase of it is after the operation. We call it a kind of a debriefing aspect of the operation. In this phase, we discuss possibly the challenges, successes, and try to see how we can also improve or effectively handle some kind of things identified, or maybe some challenges identified during this operation. Before, I think, let me also give you a brief objective of the operation. The objective of this meeting, objective of this meeting is to serve as a forum for the exchange of information and good practices with a view to enhance Interpol strategies to combat cybercrime in Africa. The outcome of the meeting assists the Secretary General to develop a long-time comprehensive integrated strategy on capacity building in terms of preventing and combating cybercrime in Africa, to serve as an advisory body to Secretary General in projects related to preventing and combating cybercrime in Africa. These are the brief objective of what the meeting we usually announce and organize annually. These are the brief objective of it. From there, we move to the awareness seminar. Awareness seminar, we also categorize it into 2 aspects. We have awareness campaign and awareness seminar or workshop. The objective of awareness seminar is to create awareness and educate public on threats related to specific cybercrime trend, to link or bring law enforcement under the same platform to discuss on how to prevent and combat cybercrime activities in the region. During this program, or during this awareness program, we try to focus on about 3 areas of the crime. That is the attribute of the crime, cybercrime landscape within the region, mode of operation of the cyber or the threat actors, and also the aspect of investigation and prevention and mitigation. We also use this avenue or this forum to sensitize or enlighten member countries, and also try to let them understand the need for them to take the message down to their respective countries. Among the recent campaign we did is a global awareness campaign on BEC, which was done sometime last year, or by the end of last year we finished that. And the most recent one is the global awareness campaign on COVID-19 cyber threat. We also conducted that not too long. Under Afropol project, briefly, I have also, the Interpol has also mandated me to be representing the Cybercrime Directorate in terms of experts working group on cybercrime in Afropol. The objective or the main purpose of this group is a group of experts from different member countries, from African member countries, that come together to deliberate on possibility of getting Afropol to establish an independent cybercrime operational capability, to also promote international cooperation with stakeholders in the fight against cybercrime in Africa, to respond effectively to requests from member countries and other stakeholders seeking analytical and cybercrime information, to also form team with diverse skill, knowledgeable of best international policing practices to prevent cybercrime in the region. These are some of the activities we do to support from the operation unit. And as I rightly said, I'm the one in charge of that coordination. These are some of the, in brief, these are some of the work we do to support the initiative by Interpol and Cybercrime Directorate.
So that wraps up from us here and our inputs today from Interpol. I'd like to thank my colleagues Yinon, Alyssa and Isah with their inputs. Hopefully you got a bit of an idea about the sort of the global context and the sort of high-level strategy, which we always have to have. Then you got a bit more of an understanding about some of the threats that we're facing, how we're combating those. Then around the project side as well, around the projects, what we're specifically looking to do in Africa. And then finally, the piece then from Isah. He's one of our main connectors into the Africa region. I was in Nairobi back in December for our regional working group with the heads of the cybercrime units, and we had some other colleagues there. That was a fantastic experience for me. It was a number of years since I've been in that region, so it was great to come back. But the traffic in Nairobi I found quite interesting as well, and I think I'll just leave it at that. Those from the region know what I mean. We're looking forward to coming back, hopefully in December, and I actually mean physically coming back. We are planning as soon as practical to come back and have our workshops running again. Whilst we can do a lot of good work on these forums, we are creatures of contact. We do like that personal interaction, so hopefully we'll be able to come back and see everybody again soon. I think there was just one question I picked up in the piece was going about, can the UN be part of our projects? Yes, so the United Nations Drugs and Crime Programme, which is based in Vienna. We work very closely with Neil Walsh. They do what I would call a lot of the capability and capacity building. So they do a lot of the support for member countries, building out those sort of skill sets that they need. However, we also look to do that as well for law enforcement. So that some of our projects are specifically around that. Glacier Plus is one of the projects that we currently run as well, which is a European Union funded project where it helps in that area. So again, I think we've reached our allotted time now, gone just over, so I apologise for that. Thank you very much indeed for all your time today. As I was saying, I'll be on again later on by the looks of it for an interview. So maybe if you've got any questions or further questions you want to pose, put them in at that stage. So thank you very much. We will now hand over back to the organisers. We won't turn or touch anything at the moment for fear of disconnecting. So thank you very much indeed.